Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce to you my good friend, Siri. So Siri Bergløff Berrefjord was born in Oslo and grew up in a small remote community called Hurdal. At the age of 20, Siri started work for antique firms in Norway. And over the next 15 years, she photographed thousands of beautiful objects and learned about Norwegian cultural heritage through firsthand experience. Siri is the mother of bunadsplast, a fusion of different techniques, expressions, and materials. Both the word and jewelry are a kind of culture clash. The traditional bunad, or Norwegian traditional costume, merges with modern and sustainable material of plastic in a colorful and playful jewelry that can be worn for special occasions, everyday use, or simply just to show one's love of Norwegian cultural heritage. I'm really looking forward today to hearing more about Siri's journey as an artist and her work shepherding tradition forward in ways that honor the past, recognize the present, and imagine the future. So thanks so much, Siri, for being with us here today.
Thank you for the nice introduction. And here is this says in Norwegian, it's a tradition till inspiration. So traditions to inspiration. So it's how I use traditional things to inspire new art. So this is both my pieces. This is me holding a bunadsplast, and this is from an exhibition. To the dress is from an exhibition. So yeah, this is and then as Jennifer said, the way I've learned about the Norwegian cultural heritage is that I have photographed things. Thousands of things and I was lucky to work at the Blomkvist Kunsthandel and Kåre Berntsen, who has sold thousands of objects. And in the 90s, it was a very high, lots, and people wanted to buy the old Norwegian handcraft, like both silver things made of tree and carvings and everything. It was very the high market thing, so it was very popular. So I don't here you can see what I find is very inspiring is how imperfect it kind of is, and also how much time people used in making everyday objects to like make their homes more beautiful. This is the ones with the horses is when you're ironing, and if you were a guy who wanted to marry someone, you could make some a thing like this. It's called a mangletre, and it could show if you were a good craftsman and how much maybe you loved the girl. And so it was a way of showing who you were to make these things. And the one to the chest, to the right, I'm not so good at left and right, and especially here. But the chest is like the chest that maybe the father made for his daughter to when she was marrying and leaving the farm. He would make this so that she could have her linens and all the things that she had made or her mother has made. So I think before people made things, and by the way they made them, they showed love and affection for other people. And I find that very inspiring. And I find that using a lot of time makes things, of course, or not of course, but often more beautiful, but also more, you kind of put thoughts into the things almost. I don't know if you think that makes sense, Jennifer, but do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So, and also this is, we like, every country likes to think that they're very special and that things that they've made is typical Norwegian or typical there, but we have like, everybody is inspired by things, and also often from, if they had seen something from far away, they were very excited about this. And this is painted by a famous Norwegian painter who traveled from farm to farm and like painted his way through Norway. And he was called Peder Odnes, and he had like this very special, I don't know, so if you say palette, or like the colors that he used black and white and blue, and made a lot of different colors. And it's kind of Chinese inspiration, if you have seen that. And also the curly things, it's very French. So we have like had inspiration all the time. And I find that just the beauty of it, I find very, very inspiring. And I made like, this is one of my favorite things when I was a photographer. I am a photographer now too, but I don't work at the same firm. So I don't see that many things. But this, when I could photograph things like this, it was like a lottery day, because it's enameled and silver or this is gilded too. And this is one of the pieces that like kind of made I think it's difficult to say. If people ask me, how do you came about to think of making the bunadsplast? And it's like very difficult to say, where does some inspiration come from? Where does an idea come from? And for me, I think it's like I put different things into my head by seeing it and wondering about it and twisting it and looking at it like from different angles, or and then suddenly it's almost like that light bulb that comes where you just I have an idea. And this is one of the pieces that, or the one of the kind of materials and that made the bunadsplast. I think the colorful and the see-through, and that you can like the colors that shine through. So both like the colorfulness and also the see-throughness. That So this is like the main part of that inspiration. And here is a lot of bunad silver. And at the bunad, I guess since you're a part of this crowd, you know about the bunad and you know what the bunad is. And the bunad is very colorful. I could say that it's one of the main thing about bunads. It's colorful, and it's a lot of, it's not very matchy, or not everyone is like, you can have a lot of different colors in one piece, but the silver is almost always just silver, or it's gilded silver. It's not like stones, and not so often. So traditionally my bunadsplast is almost like the bunad and the silver put together. It's like colorful and a lot of colors, and but the shape is the same as the bunad silver. And here you can see, so as you can see what is mine and what is the original. And I think when I first like had this thought, I had the scary thing is that I use old handcrafted silver and make molds, and then I make new pieces. And I always use handcrafted. I don't use silver that is molded. Like I don't know if you know the difference, but it's filigrane, and that's like all the small curly parts. And if it's a really nice one, you make all those parts by hand. But there is a lot now. You can see it in the price if it's molded or if it's handcrafted. And for me, that is a very big difference because when you just mold it, like you have a mold and you put the silver in and just it's finished almost. You have to, of course, clean it and stuff, but it's quite quick process. Very different from the one that's filigrane, and also very different from mine. I use like for if you take the next slide, it's I use almost 2 weeks. If I do something every day, it takes 2 weeks to make one piece. Of course, it depends on the size, but there is a lot of small details that have to be in the right place. And I often get the question is if is it in glass? If people have just seen it in pictures, they wonder how does it feel like, and how much does it weigh, and how is it? You can take the next one so you can see me at my office. Here I have the bangs and everything. It's a few years ago. So it's like, and you see I have gas mask and I have glasses and I have it's quite toxic. So it's not something that I do at the kitchen table, let's say. So it's like painting with plastic almost. So it's very time consuming. And also you can take the next one. It's, as you see, I like bright colors. And that's kind of, it's not supposed to be, it's not a substitute for the bunads silver. It's something else. And when I started to make these, I didn't at all think that people would use it for bunad. Because I didn't have a bunad. You maybe think that I have a bunad on now. I can show you a little bit later, but it's not a real bunad. But I come from a family that has no bunad. We didn't have any bunad at home. No, not my grandmothers and not my mother and aunts. Nobody had that. So, and this remote little place that I lived, there everybody, it was very small. It was almost like living in the 50s. I went to school every second day, for instance, and that's I've never met anyone in Norway who have done that at my age. And everybody was like from the same place, so everybody had the same bunad. So I thought that was bunad, and that was the only bunad that was. So it was very exciting for me to when I saw all these different things. So I wasn't actually very interested, but when I worked at Blomqvist and saw all these things, I find it like there is so much beauty and there is so much time that people have used like in making things. And I find that is one of the parts that I find very fascinating, that you can like, and I think that's one of the main problems today, maybe that way we think about time. It's like everything should be so quick. Are not used to, most people are not used to taking a lot of time to make a simple thing, especially if it's not something you have to do, or like comparing it to those things that I made before with the carvings and the broderies and everything. They use so much time. And for me, it's like when you use time, it's kind of love, actually. I think it's like a way, it's one of the most like things that people miss. It's like, I don't have enough time. And yeah, so that is one of those things that I do in my things. I take the time that it needs. Sometimes it's like, because I don't have a plan when I start, I just start. And sometimes it's like, I can't get, what is the next color? And maybe if I'm in one kind of mood, I can't get through that, because it's like, it has to wait until I find the next stage. I don't know if it makes any sense. So, and here, as you see, since I didn't think that this was going to be made for bunad, I made different things, because I wanted this to be for us who didn't have bunad, but wanted to like just be pretty and just to show also affection for the Norwegian heritage. So this is like pieces that I've made. So it's like studs, it's not, and earrings, it's not something that's very new invention. Bunad is very old. So I also made different things. So this is like pieces that I've taken out, or buttons, or as you can see, there's also a few other pieces like bijouterie. Those panthers up there is quite cool as well. That's not bunad at all, but it's the same material. So I find material in itself very fascinating. Like, how can you make things? That's one of the things that I find very interesting is how is it possible to how can I make the idea? And if you see the next slide, this is also, I have to like try new things. It's I'm at the same time both very patient and very impatient. I can use like 20 hours to make a small thing, but I also, I do think people find me very, not so very, well, how do you say? I often get a bit annoyed if people are slow, or if they don't pay attention, or if they, if they don't tag along. So at the middle here, this is something that I made because in 1913, the Norwegian women got the right to vote. And this is a pieces that I made for the jubilee. And it's the housewife bunads brooch. So this, yeah. And it's made from old things around the house. It's a cookie, like kransekake, you can see, and cakes for Christmas. And it's a tea where you put tea leaves in, and all the things that hang down is like from putting on curtains, like yeah. And this is one idea that I had for a long time, and I thought maybe this is one of those things I can make quite quick and great, okay, profit. It's not possible to I can't take a lot of money because it's mostly fun. And people are not so interested in paying a lot just for fun. So, but it took a lot of time. And every time I have an idea, it ends up using a lot of time. So I think it's not possible actually to make something really nice in a very short time. If you're a drawer, or if you're, it's not a drawer, but if you're an artist who draws, then maybe you could type like a sketch, but that's something totally different. But with crafts, I don't think it's possible to make something nice very quick. Sorry, but that's how I see it. So as you see, I've made like tiles. That was not a big hit, but it was very fun to make. And I've made doorknobs, the round things there. Those were quite, that was what I started to make before I made the bunadsplast. So this is how I like, how do you say? I have not been to any course because there is not a course. There's no one who uses this at the same way as I do. So I have like a lot of trying and failing and trying and failing all the time. I think that's very important, that all that trying and failing is not, it's something you need to do, because otherwise you don't know, if you don't know what's wrong, you don't know what's right either. And also it's door handles. And then that's also like old handles that has the black parts has broken off. I don't know if you had those in the USA as well. It's very typical from the 50s. It's that's black, and that was kind of a plastic bakelit, but it almost like it gets pieces off all the time. So, but that's also took a lot of time to make, and I had to like make. Had to go to a firm to drill it afterwards. So it's, every time I make something, it takes a lot of time. So all these things, I have a few left, but I don't make it anymore. So, and that's one of the things that I have to find new things to make and new things to inspire me, since I'm kind of, yeah. So this is, before I just made like one piece, but then I was asked to have an exhibition, and this, and here I had like 3 series of jewelry. And as you can see, that was the Peder Odnes that I talked about. And that picture is taken from a farm just quite close to where I live, where Per Rodnes have painted a whole hall. You could look it up. It's called Hesselberg Gård. It's quite famous. So I asked, because I know the woman who lives there, so I asked if I could come and photograph it. And I made this series of pieces like from that range of color. And also it's the red one is actually quite the one what I'm wearing now, if you can see. It's a bringeklut. And this is, I've made this one, but it's on a course. And it's from Voss, or the inspiration is from Voss. And it's very different. I don't know if you know, but it's like the folk art, like the one from Voss and the one from Telemark. That's folk art dress. But you have the bunad, that's kind of, it's constructed, that someone has like designed it, like piece by piece. So that's one color is right and another color is wrong. I'm more interested in the more free parts of the bunad. So I like the folk art more than I do the bunad actually. But of course it's part of the same tradition. So I made that from Per Rodnes, and the other one from the colors from the bringeklut from Voss, and a third one that was from Telemark with the rosemaling. That's green, red, and yellow mostly. So I made those 3 series, and you can see the next picture. I often get this is very nice. I had a girl who called me and said, I really like your things, and I have a hairdressing salon, and I have a girl who's going to have her exams, and I wonder if it's possible to borrow some of your things for her exam. So I said, yeah, but maybe this could be. So I sent her that series, and I got these pictures back, and it was very. I find that very inspiring and very nice, a nice collaboration, I think. And it was quite funny that she had that, like this tattoo on her back. That's a dream catcher. That's the round thing that also resembles the round things in the bunad silver. So yeah, I often find it smart to say yes if people ask you to collaborate. So the next picture you can see is also from that exhibition. And here you can see the 3 different styles or series. And on the other side, it was like the queen from the countryside and the queen from the city. So the queen from the city, as you can see, she's a little bit more pale and stylish. And the other one is more like, that's a lot of colors in one and not in the other. And on the other side, I had, you can see so clearly here, but it's pieces of old, it was old small tablecloth handmade, I don't know, actually, it's kind of crocheting, but I don't know at all know how to make things like that. So I just use things that other people have made. And I think that's also a very nice way to pay attention and to love the things that have been there before. You don't always have to make everything yourself. So this is also reclaimed materials, or how do you say? It's like the dress from the queen from the countryside is made from a big cloth, kind of those you had over the big pianos, flygel. How do you say the big? Yeah. So let's see. I have the picture. You can take the next slide. Here you can see, and it had been on a table. So 2 places there were cigarette holes, burn holes. So I used and also so the way how do you cut something? You can't. This is not something that if you cut it wrong, you can just buy a few more yards, because it's and I find this. Here is the cutting. I used 1 whole day to cut cut that thing. And first I had to like cut it in another material and then sew it together and see, and then I had to pull it apart and put the pieces on the fabric and then cut it again. So I think you have to use the time needed, and you can't push it, and you have to like be sure. And I hold a lot of courses for kids in redesign and crafts and things, and the one I'm not so strict, or maybe people think I'm quite strict, but I like that they try and that they are playing with it. But one thing is, as I said, you can't cut until you know that you're sure that this is where you're going to cut. So and then I've done the bunadsplast for many years, and I've always been very interested in sewing things as well. And that part has like taken, kind of not taken over, but I use a lot of more time on that. And I have to confess, I am a hoarder of fabrics and other people's crafts. And my husband, he was kind of crazy because I always, when I went to the flea market or thrift shops and things, I like came home with bags and tried to sneak them in the door and hide them in my study. And he said like, one bag in, one bag out. But then I was very clever because I got him on the hoarding thing as well. So he hoards like chairs, and that takes a lot of more space. So now it's he doesn't pay so much attention to my bags. But it is like, it's very important, I think, because it's now, at least in Norway, it's now you have to buy these things because nobody makes them anymore. So it's possible to buy them. So it's kind of, I'm feeling that I'm kind of rescuing things. And I have so you can say the next hair. And what I like is, I like a tablecloth, and often with like embroideries and in different styles and colors. And I like smaller parts that maybe could be something else. And I like big croquet things that can be a dress maybe. And I like Ziplocs and old threads and ribbons, and I like buttons. I love buttons, and buttons now and then it's very different. So you have to buy old buttons, and I also like fringes, and yeah, as you can see, this is it kind of piles up. So what, I can't just buy them, I have to use them for something. And I was a part of a Norwegian, it was called Designer Kollektivet in Oslo. It was a lot of Norwegian designers who had a shop together where we worked there on like 3 days a month and sold each other's things. And there I found a lot of, I met a lot of interesting people who liked the same thing as me. And then a few years ago, one of them, named Connie, you can see there, she was contacted by a publish agent, and she's and asked if she wanted to make a redesign book. And she asked me and a girl called Marianne if we wanted to participate. And that was a lovely year. We met at Marianne's place. She has a really nice house just outside Oslo, and I came in from Hønefoss, where I live, and Connie lived at Nesodden, which is an island outside Oslo. And we brought different things, and we said so we sat there and was like, what do you think this could be? And we tried different things, and we talked through. I can take the next slide. Here, for instance, is, and we are very different. Like Connie is, she went to a design school when she was over 50 years old, and she was she was the top of her class and got like a runway show in Copenhagen, and actually Lady Gaga, stylist, wanted to show some of her designs. So she's like long gray hair, looks very plain, but makes the most wonderful things. And Marianne is she's not French, but almost. She's married to a French guy, and she's like a very lively woman. And I'm me, and they are much more. They do things the right way, especially Connie. She knows everything about how to make things and what is the right technique and everything. And Marianne is a master with the patterns. I just kind of cuts, and I try to just mix or see if I can, like the skirt here with the bestemortrute. Do you know that? You have in America you call that. I know it's a thing that you make in America as well, because I've seen it in movies, and it's like what things that people made when they have like scraps. Maybe you have some red, some blue, some different things. So I made like a 3-piece collection with that. And when I have one skirt myself. And when I use that, people come up to me and say, I have a blanket like that at home. And then we go to talk about maybe who has made it or where she had found it, and my grandma made it. There's a kind of actually conversation piece. So it's and I find that very nice. That and I think that's one of my missions, is that how you kind of that you can use things to instead of keeping it in a drawer or a cupboard somewhere. You could use it, and also the red one in the middle. That's a blanket, and it's just actually 3 themes, and then you have you're ready to go. So it's quite. I like things that it's kind of quick, and also that you use as much of the material as possible. And if you take the next one. This is the same jacket. This is actually my son, quite a handsome dude, and not that. Yeah, the with the girl there. This maybe someone recognizes this pattern. This is a kristenteppe or a bragd. I don't know if you know the words, but that's what it's called in Norwegian, and it's something that in old times they made this and you called it kristenteppe because it was something you got for your christening, for when you were newborn, and then you had it your whole life, and then when you died they placed it over the coffin. So it's something that you had for your whole life. But nowadays, or not now, but usually people had them on the walls on their cabins. But then that kind of was out of style, and it was put in a cupboard or something, and maybe 20 years later nobody knows what this is, and they don't want to have it on the wall, and so what is it? Is it anything? So this is one of the pieces that we talked a lot of what to do with, and I came up with the idea that maybe we should make a bomber jacket that's very that's also useful, but also useful. It's something that you can use. And it was actually one woman who's a mentor in Norwegian folk art who was so pissed off, mind my language, when she saw this, because this thing thought it was absolutely horrible to cut something like that. But I think it's better to use it. And if someone... of course, when I sold this jacket, I also sold the story about it, what it is, so that the person who wears it know what the tradition is. And I think that is one of the way you can keep the traditions alive, that you use it as long as you like doing with, that you know what you do and you know why you do it. I wouldn't like just cut something and use it for nothing, but it's like, of course, somebody thinks as she that it's horrible, but for me, I think it's good to use things. And also that with the jacket my son wears, I found this blanket in a thrift shop, and I was like, it's horrible. It's absolutely, in Norwegian we have a saying called harry, and it's like tacky. But as a jacket, I find it very funny. And and it was actually a mother and a daughter who bought it together, that they was going to share it. And I found that very, very nice. So it's not my son's anymore. But so I think like using and paying attention and knowing, that's also a way to kind of keep traditions alive. Tradition by using, I think, is very important. And you can take one of the next. Here you can see the part 2 of the dress. I'll take one back, where the skirt and the coat in the back. So and it's very like subtle, but I find that a good design. And it was very like when we made this book, it was we wanted to make a book that was with things that was possible to make and with materials that you actually could find. And so it's a lot of tablecloth, linen, a lot of wool. We also used fur and leather, and that's, as in Norway it is, I guess, in the States, that you have discussions about fur. And I think it's very different with things that have been like a jacket from the 50s. It's a long time since that was killed. And I also think it's very important that we use all the materials. Like in Norway, we have a lot of sheep and we have a lot of cows. And to use the hides from the animals, it's much better than to throw it away, because it is very good materials. And when you know about the plastic materials, not my plastic, of course, but like the fleece, which a lot of that pollutes things, I think it's very important. Like, you have to think through things about what is what. And I find it not. I can. How do you say? I can. I live good with making my things of plastic, because it's not the plastic that's the problem, it's how we use it. And when you make a lot of things from plastics that's not meant to last, when plastic is such a durable and it lasts for hundreds and thousands of years. And if you use it to make things that's rubbish the next day, that's what's wrong. It's not the plastic's fault, it's how we use it. And I think also that's important things to talk about. Like, we can't blame the plastic, it's how we use it that's the problem, I think. So if my brooch lasts for 3,000 years, I don't find that's a problem. We like sustainable things. So I think I think these things are important, that it's not just one option, one solution, and one thought. You have to have different thoughts in your head at the same time and think it through before you decide. That's how I see it anyway. And I had here, it's the last exhibition I had. I made 3 jackets, because I've made more and more things of fabrics. And this is called Love, Faith, and Hope, was this exhibition. And I made these 3 jackets, one red, as you see, and one white, that's made of small tablecloths and croquet things, and one black jacket that has I've embroidered with and painted, hand painted that blue things there. And I made one series of jewelry for each jacket. And I think and this was very fun, because I had this exhibition at Agatunet, I know that Jennifer has been there, and if you come to Norway, it's it's so beautiful. It's like an old society where people, like, they used to have, like, the houses were very close to each other, so you could almost always smell what the neighbor was was eating. And one day I opened this exhibition. It was the mayor of Odda who opened it, and he had like lived there. He had grown up there, and he told us about how that was to grow up in a place where everybody knew each other. And today I don't want to eat dinner at home. It smells much nicer from Gunnar and Kari at the house next door. So, and this girl, she is a jeweler from Odda. And this the pictures I have taken at Odda, the factory, the old factory of Odda, where it's very black and very dirty. And yeah, so we had like a photo shoot day, and it was very fun. And so this is I think it's very nice to, as to say, to collaborate with other people. And that was 2 years ago that I put up this, no, 3 actually, I think. I can't remember. It's the last years have kind of messed up my time. So, but I put up this exhibition again. You can take the last slide. And then I sold that red jacket to the girl from Odda, so I had to make a new one. And here you can say I have because I went to a course at the Utne, at the Folk Museum at Utne. That is also something I recommend very highly. It's like a soul spa, I think, to sit. So this thing that I've made here, I will show you. I started to make this on the course, and it's like bringeklut, and it took a lot of hours, and it was like 10 women sitting there, of course no men. But maybe you, Andre, would like this, I think. And we were sitting there, it was totally quiet, and it was like, you can just feel how the shoulders go down and the pulse go down, and it was amazing. So if you are in Norway, you should see if they have any course. It's almost, you could take any course. It's just the feeling of it was very nice. So this jacket is, as you can see, it's inspired by the bringeklut, and I've made that because the heart is often used in the bringeklut. So, and as you can see, I use like, I don't know how many 100 hours I use on a jacket, but it's like I don't know what it's going to look like when I start. I just have an idea, and I go along and I see what it turns into. And so it's like I hope for everybody that or not hope, but I would wish for people to like find the joy of making things. I see that when I hold courses for kids, it's like it's so rewarding for themselves, like to make something that they are proud of. It's a very, very good feeling. And also that they so I would like recommend for people to just try. I think that's very important, that it's not so, it's okay if it doesn't look so nice the first time, and it's okay to make mistakes, and you shouldn't be so strict on what's right and what's wrong. It's like the love of doing it, and also how it makes you feel. At least it makes me feel very I feel it's a way of soul spa. I think it's a good way of saying it. So now I've like talked på innpust og utpust, as we would say in Norwegian. So Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks so much, Siri, for sharing your journey with us. I just wanted to say that it was so wonderful to be reminded that tradition really comes from and moves forward with curiosity and innovation. And we often forget that the traditions that we hold very dear started someplace and with someone. So and we're always moving them forward. So thanks for really kind of putting a fine mark on that for me. I do see that we have some questions in here, and I want to make sure that I get to that, because you and I can always chit chat ourselves at other times. Yeah. Now, you were showing some of those enamel pieces that you were inspired by, and Louise was wondering if any of those items were made by David Anderson.
Yes, both David Anderson and Tostrup, and also an artist called Marius Hammer. He made a lot of those pieces. So it was that's not something you could like take an evening course and try to make. This is difficult, and it's a very I don't know if there is people who still knows how to do these things. And I also think that's a very important thing that about if nobody makes things or take time to make things like this anymore, we lose the ability as a nation or as people to make things. So it's very, I find it very important that we allow people to have enough time and money to actually do things like this, because so the Norwegian government is quite good at if you have a good idea or you are a good skills person, you get to work with your things. And I think that's very important that we keep as a nation the way that we know how to make things. So I'm not sure if I haven't seen anything new made with this like this, but I hope that there is someone who can, because this is a very special way. The way that you can see through, it's not the same as regular enamel. Like you see the blue bowl inside, it's like enameled on top of silver, but at the edges it's enameled on filigrane, which you can see through, and that's very, very difficult, I think, to make.
Yeah, I think it's called plique jour, and we have some of that in the collection, and it's amazing. And there's a beautiful amount of light that goes through the pieces when you hold them up. So I just loved that was one of your inspirations, because it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, many people love your beautiful pieces, and Leah was saying that they are like eye candy. I was just imagining myself in sort of a sweets shop as I was looking at your pieces too. How did you learn to manipulate the plastic?
I tried, as I said, I have made a lot of mistakes, and I tried a lot of different materials to get the expression of my things. So I have a lot of boxes at home with scraps that maybe I can use for something. Chandelier, maybe the scrap chandelier. So it's by asking. I've asked people who work with who sell these things, how is it possible to do this, is it possible to do that, and I just tried. So it's it's not so easy to say. And also it's because people ask me if I have courses, but I don't, because it's this is I can't take patent. Do you say that in English? Yeah, because that also goes with color. So every piece is different. So then I had to take a patent on everything. So that's not possible. So that's also that's kind of the how do you say, the value of my company. It's how my business secrets. How do I do this? So I'm a bit secretive about that, because it's I am the mother of bunadsplast, and I find it very nice when people are inspired and maybe make it from yarn or from pearls or whatever, or whatever. I don't know. If people are inspired by my art, I find that very flattering. But it's some difference between making a copy and being inspired, I think. And that's also I think it's also important to know where it came from. It's almost the same yeah, with all the stuff that I have, that I know where it came from, and how I pay attention to how it's made, and if I know who made it, it's even more valuable, I think. Was that?
Yes. Yeah, and we had discussed, Andrew and I and others have like, oh, Siri should teach a class on this, but we know that the challenges with that, and also, you know, honoring your process of doing that. However, it is amazing to know that you have this book about, you know, this clothing, sort of repurposing those things. And I was fortunate enough to get the very first copy, folks. I had the very first copy. I was with Siri when it came hot off the press in Norway. So I feel very lucky about that. But I just want to say that that book is like, it's super uplifting, not only in the message of being able to repurpose, but my goodness, you know, if you know Norwegian at least, or you understand sewing, you can make those things. You know, I think it's very supportive.
Yeah, maybe you could like have your own copy, or maybe you could translate it to English. I would love that, and I would love to come and have a course, like an inspirational course. It's like, because I have done that sometimes with the Designer Collective. We had like open Saturday where people could bring things and say, "What do you think? What could I make with this?" And we was like chatting and drawing and putting in pins, and just to show how can you use it, turn it upside down, turn it inside out. It's like yeah, it's so many ways you can use things. It's not just one solution. I find that very important.
Yeah, and I just love that your stewarding of these traditions forward is, you know, so generative and it's so collaborative. I think that's wonderful that, you know, it's community. And I know that many of you who make things, you know, you're always in community, but it's just nice to be reminded of that. So, well, I see that there are a few people who are interested in the names of the galleries and venues that you mentioned, and we can follow up with that. I think after this presentation, we'll send out some information about that. I don't know if, let me go through here and see.
Is asking if you would be willing to stand up again so we can see the beautiful piece that you're wearing.
Yeah, and also you should see, because this is typical me. I made like the bunads, also the bringeklut, and I made the dress. And this is it's wool. I love wool. Wool is a very nice material, and so I had like made first the klut. Here you see, but then I had to have a belt as well. So you see, so this is like small pieces of the panels, you see, and I thought like this was Christmas 2 years ago. I started with this. I'm a night owl, very much. I work all night. I can stay up until 3 or 4 if possible. And also this, how do you call that? Yeah, that you see what it is. I can't remember the name, but this is something I bought in England at the flea market, or not, or an antique market. I don't know where it's from, but I find it very beautiful. So I think like using different pieces, and also the ribbon here I've made from some material that I got from my the woman who looked after me when I was a child. So it's like, and it's very often used for kids' dresses, like not kind of, and also the aprons they can make. Maybe you've seen that. So I think it's very, yeah, I've had and also if you can see, I don't like to wear a bag, but I have very, very big pockets, so I can have my glasses, my wallet, my phone, maybe even some food if I need to. So I always make things that I'm comfortable wearing. I think that's a very important thing. That's why I make a lot of clothes for myself, and then I make what I like to wear. I'm not so very into fashion that way, or like what's in this year, or yeah, I find it much more interesting to like what I want to wear, and then it doesn't go out of style the same way as well, I think. But I know that some people might think that I have a kind of a strange style, but it's my style, so that suits me. And yeah. And then don't use so much money when you have your own style. You don't have to change your wardrobe every second year or anything. Yeah.
That's very practical and very, very sustainable. So yeah. I know a lot of people would agree with you on that. I know that we've had a few people who have asked about where to purchase your objects at or your things at. And Andrew, I can't remember if we were sending that out afterwards or if you were going to mention something here.
We're going to include information that's going to come out later, but we'll include Siri's website and her Instagram feed because she opens an online shop a couple times a year, right, Siri? Do you want to talk about how you do that?
Yeah, because since I have only one piece and I am a photographer, so that's what I did for a living for so long. So I can't like take cheap snapshots. I like to make really nice photos, and to have like a web shop, it's a lot of fuss and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of money. So what I usually do is that I have like this week I open the Instagram shop. And then I put out maybe one piece a day or two pieces a day. And then it's like, I want this one. Sometimes you have to be very quick. That's very funny. But so I was thinking that maybe we could do that. And the problem could be like shipping to America. But maybe, and if this was not Corona, I would have had friends or people who were going. So you could like try to send the package with them, and could try that. So if you want to buy, it's like just I will send Andrew and Jennifer hello when I open the shop, but I don't think it will be. I have a lot to do right now, and it takes so usually I do it when I'm at the cabin because there is so many beautiful places to photograph. So maybe when I'm mending the roof, maybe we could take something like that. But
and selling beautiful jewelry.
Yeah, yeah. So it will come. I don't know exactly when, but I'm making new pieces now. I haven't made so much the last years, but I'm making new now. So
and we will happily
Yeah.
We will happily send out the information to folks who are registered for today's webinar when that time comes. So keep an eye out for upcoming news.